Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there. Welcome to New Life Live. Glad that you're with us here on a Thursday. And joining me, Dr. Jill Hubbard and Dr. Alice Benton. The last time we were together, I was not bored 1 minute. So really looking
Neither was I, Alice.
I can't say the same thing.
Test.
You were bored. Okay. Well, you need to work on your attitude. That's all. Yeah. Well, we're really glad you're with us, and if you need some help, you know the phone number is 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I already have a lot of calls lined up, and I want to go right to those phone calls, and I'm going to go to Ann from Arlington, Virginia, listening on WAVA. Ann, how are you today? What's going on in your life?
Oh, hello. Yeah, I'm fine, except for this.
Okay.
Okay, so I feel like I'm in a dilemma because, I have a 40-year-old son who is living with me, and he is extremely messy. And out of the 9 months that he's lived here, he's paid me $125, besides owing me a lot of money from other things from the past that I've helped him with.
I'm just going to ask you to stop for a second. I'm going to ask you a question, okay?
Okay.
You know that there aren't many 40-year-old sons still living at home, right?
Right. And he hasn't lived here the whole time. He moved back in 9 months ago, but still, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think is it that didn't cause him to go from a little struggle here and he's right back up and doing something different, but it's 9 months with mom? What do you think went wrong there?
Yeah, okay, like I was going through a divorce at the time, and when he came in, and at the time it was almost a little bit helpful, and so he just stayed, and we've had conflict, and I tell him I want him to move, and he tells me he doesn't want to be homeless, and so he's not going to move.
So why would homelessness be an issue with him? Why wouldn't he just be going from one thing to another? If he gets fired at one thing, he gets another job. What's different about him?
Okay, so he's irresponsible, and he was evicted from his last apartment, and he what he was doing for years, he was doing plumbing, and he hates it, and he had some problems with a hernia surgery and different things like that. So he started kind of doing some side jobs and different things like that, but it's all like sporadic kind of stuff. And
so you don't have any insight as to what happened that he doesn't have that resilience or grit or anything like that. You don't have insight into what might have not been there.
Like Ann.
And then I'm sorry.
Sorry. Like, Ann, has this been kind of a continuous, he doesn't really fully embrace adulthood and take care of himself, or had he been doing fine and then there's been a decline?
No, he has been irresponsible for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah. He's been irresponsible for a long time, but he has not been living with me except for the last 9 months, but it's just a disaster.
So, Ann, I want you to think about what might you and his father have done that perhaps made life more of a struggle for him. Was there enabling? Was there coldness, overly strict? Think about that to tell us on the other side of the break.
Because what we're looking at is what is it that could be repaired, and that's different than let's develop a plan for him to leave the house. I'd love to be able to help him get better so that he is not a dependent 50-year-old living at home paying his mom $100 every 9 months. We're going to take a break. We'll come right back. If you need some help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Really glad you're with us here today. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop A lot of people are you could literally say, in bondage from past trauma that has created an emotional web that they don't understand, and it prevents them from being free. A person that loses their temper regularly is not emotionally free. Someone who has anxiety just to get in the car and leave the house is not emotionally free. And walking around with the shame from a childhood or even a bad relationship as an adult, that is not emotional freedom, and we can help you get there.
The New Life Emotional Freedom online workshop is Saturday, August 14th. Steve Arterburn and Chris Williams will present information on the power of our emotions, procrastination, guilt and shame, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or register online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and we're talking with Ann, and she's really having a struggle here with her 40-year-old son. Ann, what was the specific question that you had in mind when you called?
Yeah, my specific question is, should I have him legally evicted from my home because he will not leave no matter how I talk to him? I try to,
So Ann, in order to answer that question well, let us know what you as parents might have done that could have exacerbated his irresponsibility.
Okay. Well, you all had mentioned something about with his father and coldness and things like that. His dad he died 12, 13 years ago. But he and I had gotten back together when Jeremy was 2 years old. So, oh my God, I just said his name. Anyway, trying not to do that. Anyway, his dad missed out on my pregnancy and the first 2 years of his life. He didn't have a good bond, and I always tried. He wouldn't. My husband wouldn't listen to me. I tried, but he was always kind of harder on him than he was our other kids that we had later. And I was always afraid how it would affect him. But my son he was just kind of hard to talk to about it. And I think I was like more like overly responsible to trying to make up for what my husband wouldn't do. My husband did work and pay the bills, but he was very separate from me and the kids. And
so that gives us a good, clear picture of his father.
Okay.
What do you think your responsibility, your contribution has been to your son's irresponsibility?
I think I'm an enabler. I guess I'm a codependent person.
And what is the work? What's the work you've been doing on yourself to handle your enabling?
Okay, so I have a counselor that I've been going to, and then I've read that book by Melody Beatty.
Very good. Codependent No More.
Yeah. Yes, that one, it was like I could super relate to. It was really good. And then I have that Take Your Life Back, and it's been a while. I need to reread Take Your Life Back, I'm sure.
You are doing the right things to be moving along here. And is the therapist helping you strategize how to address this situation with your son?
Yeah, and she even said, maybe it'd be good, to have him evicted because it's very, very stressful to me.
So I'm going to interrupt. I'm going to interrupt, and before the legal eviction, I want to make sure that you have done your part to repair the damage that both of his parents probably unintentionally did. There was a setup in this kid's life from very early on. You were pregnant and alone with him, and then everything else that happened has added to his character flaws. Now he's an adult, and becoming a better man is his responsibility. But I would guess that you have there's probably more you can do to help clean up your side of the street before you evict him.
Okay.
Now, the work that you might do, or perhaps add to, because you've already done some of it, is acknowledging your role in this and asking for his forgiveness, recognizing that you've enabled him, and then setting up a structured plan with your therapist to work towards the point where either your son agrees to leave on his own, which of course would be the hope, or if he denies and rejects all the good work that you attempt to do with him, then that would be an ultimate consequence. But make sure you've tried everything else first before you go that route, because there would be such rupture in relationship. And sometimes we have to get to that point.
Yeah.
The Entitlement Cure gives very clear steps, a book by Dr. Townsend, very clear steps of how to clean up your part in this.
Okay, and we will get a copy of that to you. Jill, did you have a thought here?
Well, just adding, so looking at right now, what are you doing for him that he needs to do for himself? And those are the things I would stop doing. It doesn't sound like you have a lot of leverage, but what...
No.
Right. But what we're outlining here, right, is that you look at yourself, you own your part, but you don't let him use that to manipulate you, right? You don't get sucked in, because people who are entitled take codependence, guilt, and use it against them. So I want you to be very aware of that you can own your part, but then you have boundaries with him. And before you go to the biggest hammer, which is the legal eviction, you are wanting to get to his heart and letting him know that you want to help him be the best he can be, right? In terms of emotional support. Again, that doesn't mean you enable him. He's got to do a lot for himself. But you want him to want better for himself. And where is it that he feels he's incapable?
So I've got 3 ideas for you that you would present to him other than eviction. But if he's not going to do one of the 3, you might have to resort to eviction. I went to CVS the other day, and their shelves were bare. I couldn't believe it. They're usually stocked perfectly. And I said, what's going on here? You guys having financial trouble? I hadn't heard about that. They said, no, we can't get the people that supply us, the manufacturers, they can't get truck drivers to deliver the products to our store. So what's my point? Well, perhaps he needs to become a truck driver. Perhaps he needs to get up out of bed and figure out, how do you drive a truck around town so that CVS can get products delivered? I think there are some great opportunities.
So that Steve can shop.
Yeah. And we got to, and I want him
truth be told.
in my neighborhood preferably. But I think we look at that truck driving industry. They do great
and you
training.
have a place to sleep too,
and
right?
you have a truck. So that's one thing I would explore. The other thing is I would sit down, I would look at my house, and if it needs painting, if the carpet needs redone, if it needs mowed, whatever, I would write the list, and I would tell him, do these things as your contribution to this home, because he can do that. He's 40 years old. The third thing is that I would, if he's not going to go to truck driver school, if he's not going to go down to Lowe's or Ace Hardware and get the supplies to fix your house up, then at 9 o'clock he needs to be out the door to go down to the City Mission or Salvation Army, the church or someplace, and he needs to volunteer until 5 p.m. That gets him out of the house, out of your hair, but it also forces him to come face to face with some real live people. And his isolation is just going to make it worse and worse. He's going to feel worse about himself. But if he's volunteering, he's going to impact some lives. He's going to meet some people, and it's going to reverse the horrible spiral that he's in, and it just gets worse and worse.
And it's okay to tell him this isn't working for you anymore, and it has to change.
Right.
Right? That this isn't working, and as your mom, it's not fair to you, really. He's totally taking advantage of you.
I've kind of done all that, basically. He's gone most of the time because he's doing this, he's doing that. You know, he's doing these side jobs and stuff, okay? So he's not here very much. I have, talked to him about getting a regular job because, like I said, he was a plumber. And I do ask him sometimes to cut the grass, whatever, even though, he's usually too busy or whatever to do it. But he did give me some money I had to pay to get it done one time.
Are you funding anything for him apart from housing?
Well, I mean, he's just living here in my home with me. So basically I am doing it that way. But, I mean, I'm not giving him money or anything like that. But in a sense I am, I guess, because he's here. But, I even try to, because when I had said something about eviction, which I've said a few times because it gets so overwhelming that I end up crying, and some conflicts that we have because he acts very disrespectful, and he's very, he tries to bring up everything that he feels I've done wrong in my life, basically, since he's been born, even though I've done my best. But,
I'm sensing that you really need, maybe first, before you pay for an attorney and figure out the eviction thing, maybe you tell him you have to go to counseling. We've got to turn this around somehow, and you find a great male counselor that might be able to help him. But I hate these situations where there is either failure to launch or failure to bounce back once the launch doesn't go well. And it really does take some pretty tough things, but done with love and care and concern rather than anger, bitterness, and frustration. And so I do think you have to up the expectation. Yeah, I sense that from you.
Right.
Try a lot.
Yeah.
And as you have said, you've tried everything that we are suggesting, and I believe you. And so if at this point there seems to be nothing else that you can do about this, I want you to think about whether you've brought a strong man in, a male friend, a family member who can address this with you, back you up, and support you, and just be an authoritative male voice speaking into your son. But if all those things have been done and nothing has worked, then I do think considering legal action is appropriate. But you've got to be really careful not to make empty threats, because I think that's what you've unintentionally done, is you've talked about eviction, but you haven't gone that route yet because your son doesn't believe you. He doesn't buy into it. I'd have you actually talk with an attorney first so that you know what your rights are there, so that you can find out if, would calling the police and having the police come over, if he's being verbally abusive to you, if there are some prior legal steps to be able to take before going to legal eviction. But otherwise, I would support that if nothing else has worked.
All right, I'm really glad that you called, and I'm going to send you a copy of The Soul of a Hero, because I think you ought to demand that he read it. It really does help a man from the inside out become what God has called every man to become. So that is coming your way. And right now I want to go to, well, how about we go to Judy from Laramie, Wyoming. Judy, you're on with Dr. Jill Hubbard, Dr. Alice Benton, Steve Arterburn here. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. What's your question for us? How could we help?
I'm curious. What is your thoughts on karma? What goes around comes around kind of thing.
And do you think there is a force, a thing, that an energy or whatever that is truly karma?
I'm not sure. I don't want to believe that, but sometimes I feel like maybe.
Yeah, why are you asking? Tell us the story behind the question.
What's going on? We've never had anybody ask us about karma.
Well, because let's see. I don't know where to start with it, but many years ago, like over 20 years ago, well, probably even more than that. I'm 54, but I had to cut ties with my mom to be able to protect my kids. And at the time, I thought I was doing the right thing with the decision that I made. It was because of the man she was married to. It wasn't necessarily her, but it was the fact that the man that she was married to, and he abused me as a child and my sister, and she never protected us. She knew what was going on. She chose
Tragic.
to stay with him.
Wow.
Tragic.
And
So where does
then
karma come in to that horrible, horrible story?
Okay, because when I cut ties with her, when I hadn't spoke to her in 7 years, and my kids that were at the time probably 5 and 7 maybe. I can't remember exactly, but anyway, I hadn't spoke to her up until for 7 years, so that made my kids, older than that. Until the day I got a call from my sister that she was in the hospital and was gravely ill. So I debated whether even to go to the hospital at the time, because I have been shunned
so
by my
we've
whole
got music
family
coming.
over it.
We've got music coming, but when we come back, you need
Okay.
to tell us what karma has to do with the situation you're in.
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C., July 23rd to the 25th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Mylan and Kay Yurkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship. And then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
And New Life's group counselors will help you focus on the area that will benefit your marriage most. To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back talking about karma here. So tell us where we get to the karma part. What is happening in your life that you think could be a result of karma?
Because now I have a daughter that's 31, and she had a baby just a little over 2 years ago, and we have had a really rocky road, and I fear that it's going to be the same thing that happened with my mom. And I'm so scared of losing my granddaughter, and it's just, I fear that, a lot, and because we've come close many times, and it's just, I don't know.
Well, let me tell you what I think is really unfortunate. There are two things that could be taught when you reject a parent. One, teaching your children that sometimes you have to take dramatic and drastic things to protect yourself and protect what is right. And for your mother to allow you to be abused, to know about that and allow that, that was a really bold move, and I think the right thing for you to do. Your mom might say, wow, I allowed my daughter to be abused, and now she doesn't even speak to me. And she might say, that's bad karma that I created. I would just say that's a consequence, see, of her behavior. Now, the other thing is if you reject a parent that is a pretty good parent, you are teaching your children to reject you. They see that. But in your case, it's very sad that your daughter would reject you because you did a really, really great thing. And here's the other thing. If you had maintained that relationship, I have to wonder if you wouldn't have subjected your daughter to abuse, or that could have happened. What happened to you, you let it happen to your own kids, all that kind of stuff that helpless victims do. You didn't do that. So I'm thinking if there was karma in the world, you would be experiencing good karma because of the courage that you had to do the right thing. But I think rather than karma, there are consequences, and sometimes really crummy things happen as a consequence of us doing the right thing. I also think that we have a God who is a mysterious God, sometimes allows things to happen, sometimes causes things for the greater good to happen. It's hard to understand all that all the time. But I would hope that you might write your daughter a letter telling her how you did the best you could, how you wanted to protect her, how you had to protect yourself, all those kinds of things, and see if that might have some kind of impact. Jill, you have a thought?
Jody, does your daughter as an adult know the reasons why you had to separate from your mom at the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
She
so
does,
she's fully
and-
aware of
and-
that. Okay.
Right. She not, she doesn't know the extent, or
But she
does,
knows it was an
but-
extreme situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and she knows I did it to protect her, and there's other circumstances that came into play with her and I's rocky relationship. It was, her dad and I got a divorce, and it was because of infidelity on my part, which I've repented, and I feel like I've, tried to do the best I could to show her how sorry I was for what had happened, and so on and so forth. And so that's what's kind of played into, what our relationship being rocky is. And so, I still feel like it's karma.
Right. So it sounds like she has not rejected you yet. This is your fear. And so I would head it off at the pass, because sometimes when we're so afraid of something, we don't realize that we actually contribute to causing it to happen, right? Almost like I can't stand the tension of waiting for that to happen, so I'm going to make it happen. And we often do that without even realizing it. And so instead of you doing that, I would rather you be more proactive with your daughter. You've already done some things, it sounds like, to repair. But as she has her own child now, I would be talking with her about the fact that, things were really rough for us and rough for me growing up, and now you're a mom. And I really want to be able to be with you in this time. And so I want to clear up anything that feels unresolved from your end in our relationship. I want to be able to be a grandma and be here to the degree that I can be. And so what is it that we still have that's unresolved? And I certainly don't want to do anything. I want to respect your position as mom now and mine as grandma. And I think taking that proactive approach could head some things off.
Yep, I think it's very wise.
Because there is generational patterns of immaturity, sin,
It
addictive
is not
behavior.
karma, it's just that repetition.
And a pattern of passivity, of thinking things are out of my control. Karma has the control now, not me anymore. And so we've got to reclaim authority and control over what actions we'll take in the present to prevent past generational patterns from reoccurring in this generation.
Yeah. So, no karma, Now there's big pharma. We know that is a reality, but not.
But we're not
karma.
suggesting that.
No, we're not. All right, I'm going to send you a copy of Forgiving Our Mothers and Fathers, and maybe there's some insight there. Hi, this is Steve Arterburn from New Life Live, and Chris Williams and I are doing the Emotional Freedom Workshop. I don't know of anybody that wouldn't benefit from emotional freedom. We're all bound or stuck or struggling in some area. What are we going to do there, Chris?
Just really help people get clarity around the places where they're stuck in their life. They sort of circle the same mountain of disappointment over and over and over again. You're going to be able to see that mountain clearly and get to a new place of what we call emotional freedom, which is simply I can feel in the world, build a relationship to it, and know what to do with my experiences.
The New Life Emotional Freedom Workshop is Saturday, August 14th. Steve Arterburn and Chris Williams will present information on trauma, depression, codependency, and more. And small group leaders will help you process the information you learn. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or register online at newlife.com.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the New Life member thank you gift of the New Life Journal, 100 Days of Peace, 7 Ways to Choose Healing, Growth Has No Boundaries, a Restoration Bible, and a New Life grocery tote to hold it all. Plus, there are ongoing benefits, like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, Steve Arterburn here, and in the studio, Larry Sonnenberg is with us. Larry, what do you have for us today?
Steve, I'm promoting marriage workshop because that's coming up so close, and it's is it tomorrow? Is this the 22nd?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here's a testimony from a man. Attending this event made it apparent to me that marriage, a successful marriage, takes a lot of work. We bring so much of our past into our relationships, which then gets mired into new experiences, relationships, children, life events, etc. Most good intended people do not have a perspective when entering marriage or going through the journey and the effort it will take to make a marriage a positive experience. Growing up, I was provided with more tools to fix my bike than how to develop a lasting relationship. Mm-hmm. I hope I can do better for my children. I may not have been the best role model, but I'm now understanding about what it takes to develop and sustain a healthy marriage. So anyway.
Well, to that point, one of the most valuable things that happens at our intensive is leaving with some skills on how to repair your relationship together. And before that, it may just get worse and worse, and you don't know how to reverse it. And I think that's one of the most valuable things is you're not stuck at any particular place. You can both start the repair process.
And folks, the skills learned at that weekend are the best I have ever learned to be able to better handle stress and discomfort in relationship. I use those skills every single day with my spouse and my children.
Yeah, you'd be divorced if it wasn't for that workshop.
I sure would.
It's just amazing how that's helped.
I wish we had had that
it
helps,
a long
time ago.
It helps my poor husband put up with me.
Well, I love what this guy says at his first sentence. It takes a lot of work to make a marriage work.
Yeah, that's right.
And we too often think it's a one-way thing, and it's not. You've got to work hard. She has to work hard. It's a combination. And we help you do it and do it better. And if you can support that, please make a gift to New Life. It's just the donations keep us going. Club New Life keeps us going. We need your help.
And anybody still thinking that, if we just get married, this thing here is going to get better. What planet are you on? Everything gets magnified after you eat the wedding cake. So you just must deal with it beforehand. But we can give you the tools to make the best out of the worst situations. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I'd love to see you there. Thank you, Larry, for that. 1-800-NEW-LIFE to help this ministry, help other people. All right, let's go to Courtney, Alpharetta, Georgia. WNIV is the station. Hello there. How are you?
Hello.
Hello, Courtney. How are you?
Hi.
How can we help?
I could be better.
Okay, what's going on?
My question is regarding a 33-year-old daughter who tends to be attracted to men who are controlling. It's been a abusive relationship that we're very grateful that she was able to come out once we found out all the details. But more importantly, we love our 6-year-old grandson, and we unfortunately don't have a lot of time to spend with him. We would like to spend more time with him. It has come to a point where she has asked for his school fee this year. We supported him last year and want to do that this year, but we wanted to make a stipulation that we would be able to spend more time with him. And I wanted to know, is that unreasonable, or is that trading off a relationship for fee? Because from our perspective, we feel like we want to be not just a part of paying for his education on the front end versus the latter end, but we also want to be a part of his life, and so we can plant memories with him as well.
Courtney, how do you think your daughter would respond to that stipulation?
She probably would say, "Well, Mom, you and Dad you can see me anytime you want. All you have to do is call." But I feel like she says that, but that's not necessarily true, because she has basically within the last couple months cut us off and said that she needed to put boundaries around us, because she believes that every time she gets a new boyfriend and we don't approve of, because we see the relationship, the controlling aspect, which she doesn't see, which she ends up out of the relationship every time anyway because of it. She says that, she needs to put boundaries around us. So she really doesn't talk to us very much now. We're not communicating.
Okay. So here's what I'd do. Here's what I would do. I would say to her, we are happy to make a financial investment into your child's life. We also want to invest our lives into him. And we have heard so many stories of the impact that grandparents can have on children. So if you're able to do this, so what we'd like to agree with you, we're going to pay this, but we'd like to set up a regular schedule where we could, and you tell her what it is. Is it every Saturday morning? Is it Wednesday evening, Saturday? Kind of like visitation rights. You need that. You need her commitment, and I think it needs to be in writing that she's going to commit to give you access if you're going to commit to this financial investment. And I would do it from a positive standpoint of wanting to help her raise your grandchild, and you want to do good things for your grandchild.
As a separate side conversation, absolutely. I think you also need to address what happens cyclically with new boyfriends with her. So apart from what Steve is suggesting, acknowledging that I believe that when we bring concerns up about the men you date, it's upsetting to you. And I think it's part of why there's distance amongst the three of us at this point. So I want to check, is what I'm assuming correct? And would you explain how you see it? And then in the future, if we do have concerns, because we love you and that previous guy was pretty rough on you, how do you want us to bring our concerns to you? Now, whatever her answer is, you may or may not agree with it, and there's no obligation for you to do exactly what she's saying. But you need to bring that conversation out into the open before the next bad guy comes around.
Or you might decide that if she's not going to do anything about your comments, and all it does is upset her and prevent you from seeing your grandchild, you might make a commitment.
Yeah, everything seems to upset her.
So you might make a commitment. We're not going to comment anymore, because I got to tell you something. I don't think she's going to respond to her parents at age 33 telling her negative things about her choices. So if you do that after seeing how she's reacted, you're not looking at the full picture.
But you have to understand this choice affected our grandson. She brings these men into his life, and he was hurt so bad with the last one. And she promised us that she would never do it again.
Okay, so Courtney,
right now.
So Courtney, unfortunately, you don't really have full control over that.
Yep.
And when she senses your disappointment and disapproval, right? So I think I like acknowledging it, but I think your focus now is the grandson. The goal is to get time with him so that you can offset some of that and showing him a difference, that when he's with grandma and grandpa, he's safe, he's secure, you're tending to him. Right?
And you have to pick your battles.
Yeah.
Because if she gets into a situation where he's in danger, then of course you have to speak up and take action, even if it means risking the stability of that relationship. But if it is not to an extreme where it's significantly impacting your grandson, then it's probably best to hold your tongue as much as possible.
Okay, so I'm just going to say this one more time because I really believe this with all my heart. Telling her that she's doing something unhealthy is not going to impact her behavior, but she's going to use it against you. And if she's doing something unhealthy, all the more reason that you need to be spending time with the grandchild so that you can have, some kind of counterbalance to all the crummy stuff. So I just I'm going to beg you not to confront her behavior, which only jeopardizes your relationship with your grandchild. It's like in any marriage, a counselor will sit there with the couple and say, well, buddy, do you want to be right or do you want to have a marriage here? And you got to decide. And then he says, I just want to be right. And then they divorce. Okay, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for you to say, honey, we have to let that go. We can't control that. She doesn't want it.
Yeah.
And we're at her mercy here, and we want to be in his life. And so I would be telling her, here's the money, we want the commitment for access, and here's our commitment. We're not going to comment about the things you're doing as a mother.
Unless you ask us. Unless you ask us.
Unless you ask. And that doesn't eliminate the possibility that if something really horrible were going on, that you wouldn't step in and intervene. But on day-to-day basis, you're not going to give her a hard time. We'll be back.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I'm an addict, and I'm trying to get God in my life again. You seem to be able to get to the crux of a problem quickly.
Our Christ-centered treatment programs can help you break free to embrace all that God has for you and your family.
I just want to thank you guys for bringing me to a relationship with Jesus.
There really is help for marital problems, depression, addictions, panic attacks, and feelings of hopelessness.
I came back with so many tools to help me prepare myself to fight this struggle and this battle that I have every day.
You can start living again today. Living the life God intended for you. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
They did care, and they did follow up very lovingly, and it made all the difference in my life.
Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Someone who cares is waiting at the other end of the phone. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Just call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. We are giving you this amazing gift, 100 Days to Freedom from Anxiety and Fear. It's ours. Gift to you for supporting us. Any amount. It's right there. Call us. Support us. That's our gift, our way of saying thank you. All right. I want to go over here and let's see who we're going to talk to. I'm sorry, but this is going to have to be our last call, and I'm really sorry about that. We're going to go to Jean, who is calling from Danville, California. Hi, Jean. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing fine. I just want to thank you for your ministry. I listen to you a lot, but I'm a first-time caller.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you called, and how could we help you?
Well, I need to just get some support on how to deal with my husband, who, after 43 years of marriage, kids and grandkids and everything, that he has totally decided to become isolated. Well, it might have been slowly, gradually coming on, but isolated, irritable, closed off to me, closed off to God, pretty severely, pretty much living his own life, sleeping in a different room, doesn't want to go out, doesn't want to go away on trips anymore. But yet when the kids are around, he can flip a switch and be pretty pleasant, pretty decent, kind to me. And as soon as they leave,
Jean, what seemed to precede these changes in him?
I don't know. I think he just, I don't know. I think maybe because he just stopped going to church. We were in a church group.
And why might he have stopped? Why might he have stopped going to church?
He just didn't agree with it anymore. I think also our kids grew up, and I think he went to church all along for our kids. And then when our kids left and we were empty nesters, he gradually decided, I don't need that anymore.
I would guess there's also been some big disappointment in his life. The loss of something, maybe even physical capacity. What has been a disappointment to him in these past years?
Well, he retired early. He's been retired about 15 years. Didn't really go into anything else, and he was fairly young, in his 50s. He's had a history of depression. He has taken medication for it, but now he denies he has it.
Well, let me ask you this: when's the last time he had a checkup with his physician?
Well, he doesn't want to.
Well,
there's
here you are with a guy that is prone to depression. He's older now and prone to low testosterone, which impacts depression and desire to be with somebody of the opposite sex. So, I would be talking to him about one thing, not his irritability or his mistreatment of you, but I would be talking about how good life could still be with a little help from a physician.
Well, and how concerned you are about him.
Right. He had a surgery about 3 or 4 years ago. So he's impotent. So he had a cancer surgery, and he's doing fine, but there's no intimacy anymore. So maybe that was part of it too. And I told him, that's okay. We can still go out. We can still be together. But I think maybe that's when it did start.
So Jean, it is curious that you didn't bring that up right away. And I wonder if unintentionally you have minimized how much that has impacted him and how maybe he doesn't feel like he's a man anymore in all the ways that he was, including the retirement. But he is probably in some deep pain and maybe shame over the changes that have come about in his life. How do you think you tend to do being warm and understanding and validating when your husband, if he ever does, when he opens up about his pain?
I would want to talk to him about it. I would love to hear him, but he never has. He's always been very closed, introverted.
In the history of your marriage, he's never opened up about it.
No.
Wow, what a struggle for you. You have felt closed off from him for perhaps your entire marriage, at least on an emotional level. Is that right?
Right. I think the only time I really felt close to him was during intimacy, and that was great. And then I felt like, wow, we really love each other too, but he told me that sex is overrated. I think it's a cover-up maybe for him, but he has no interest. He doesn't want any affection, wants absolutely nothing.
What do you think it's a cover-up for? Have you wondered about pornography? Have you wondered about hidden addictive behavior?
Well, he does have an addiction to smoking. I know that, and he does that by himself. He denies pornography. He is on his computer, pretty much his laptop, about 6 hours a day. He watches a lot of shows, car things. I don't know. He watches a lot of depressing things, though, that I express concern to. Like, he watches these old shows where there's a lot of guns and shooting and hate and women are screaming, and it's like, that really bothers me. And when I tell him that, he gets really angry at me and says, forget it. Don't even, be around here, and I'm going to do what I want. And it's got a lot of anger.
A couple of things I want to say. You only can do so much, but to provide all the conveniences without him not even getting a checkup, to do some blood work, lab work on what's going on. And I have to say this too, there are a lot of people that can no longer have sexual intercourse, but they experience intimacy, physical intimacy with each other, and it draws them closer to each other. But to say because I can't function or I can't have a fulfilling intercourse experience like I used to, so there'll be nothing, I think you're resigning to, or he's resigning to something that doesn't have to be. It can...
Right.
And still.
And Jean, I think sometimes, like with kids, when someone is unresponsive, sometimes we have to kind of name what we think is going on. And I would also talk about the loss of intimacy for you, that you really miss that. While it's okay, you understand he can't have sex, those were some really good times where you really felt loved by him, and how much you're missing that.
Yeah.
You might also consider consider an intervention, because your words may not matter to him at this point. That's what it sounds like, but the kids matter to him. And an interventionist could help the family craft their concerns because of the inside perspective you have, and perhaps the children addressing it might jar him to perhaps go to a doctor.
All right, I will send you How We Love. I hope that there might be something there that would provide some great insight for you. And of course, Jill, a great truth that sometimes, like children, we have to say to the spouse what we see or what we suspect, what is. We have to say it, and it can really be an uncomfortable thing when they have learned how to humiliate or punish us when we talk about reality. But, really, I think when it doesn't work sharing anything negative. And you can say it in a loving way, right? And there's still certain people that are going to just destroy you over it, but you don't want to give up. And any kind of counseling that you can get, man, I hate it. And that's what our Intimacy in Marriage weekend is about. It's not accepting that things can't be better. It's accepting responsibility to make them the best that they can be. And God will help you with
it's
that.
so sad when people just give up and resign themselves.
Yeah. I'm going to send her The Soul of a Hero, because I'm telling you, the real hero starts by humbling himself before the Lord, by saying, I don't have all the answers here, but I'm willing. And when somebody says, I'm going to that bedroom, I'm going to sleep in that bed, there's the willingness is shut down. Alice, Benton and Dr, thank you for being here. And Jill Hubbard, Doctor, thank you for being here. And thanks to all of you who support, watch, listen to New Life Live. Thank you. And if you need some help, you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. See you tomorrow. We love you. We're thinking about you, praying for you.
We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you. But you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.